Hey everyone, Dave Putz here from JKP Holdings. Alongside me, Mr. Nathan Turner. We apologize for a little delay, everyone. A little technical stuff going on here. I'm glad we can connect for a few minutes. Before we get started with all the stuff, we wanted to do some quick housekeeping. As you probably may know, I'm Dave Putz from JKP Holdings. Nathan Turner from Earnest Investing. We have a big event coming up, Nathan.
It's a big deal, man.
Just a little bit. All right. So for those who don't know, we've been in note investments to 2010, buying traditional bank loan stuff, some little bit of seller finance stuff, but we're seeing a big shift. And seller financing is becoming the thing.
And it's funny for me, I actually started doing seller financing. So now for me, it's kind of coming back full circle where now I'm buying seller finance notes, which is what I was trying to do in the beginning. I was creating these notes and trying to sell them. Now I'm on the other side, and I'm trying to buy the ones that people are creating, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's really cool to have this kind of go first full circle. And for those who are saying, well, why would you want to do that? What is the advantage of it? For us, we can't buy 3% paper. And for those who've been out there, we put a poll out yesterday about what do you bid on based on UPB or whatnot. And a lot of people didn't realize interest is a huge factor in what we bid on.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about the DME, right? How to bid. And what we're finding out is people don't realize it. But with seller finance, the interest rate is very attractive.
Yes. Yeah. The higher you can set that, the easier it is for you to sell it, the easier it is for me to buy it. We can do a lot of business, but you got to write it properly.
Yes.
And you can write it in a way that makes it more attractive for sale later.
Yeah. And when we're buying these paper and people say, why do you care? Well, when we go to foreclose, we don't want a problem with our borrower. We don't want you to have a problem with the borrower. We want to cash people out. And for those who are note buyers, understand the fact that you're buying 10, 11, 12% paper at times and not 5 and 6% interest. So when you're going to buy, you're going to get a much better, easier return, and your actual discount is a lot less, which is really attractive.
Yeah. So all these things and more, we're going to be talking about all this stuff. Today is the last day, people, to save money on your DME ticket. I know a lot of people have bought already, and that's fantastic. Good. I'm glad. If you want to pay more, I'm actually fine with that. I'm trying to help you out. Help me help you save some money. Today is the last day to get $200 off on your ticket. And it's also the last day to save money on that hotel block. So make sure you get that in today. If you bought your ticket, but not your hotel yet, get the hotel, because today's the last day for that cheaper rate.
And if you're curious what it's about, DME has traditionally been a note investing conference for note investors to learn and gain. It's not going to be that way this year. Nathan's running an awesome, multifaceted notes investing, note origination market conference where people from both sides of the table, per se, is going to be in attendance and be talking to each other. So those who are originating notes and want to get cashed out, guess what? We're going to be right there with you with checkbook rate, a deal for you. Yeah. And those are note buyers. You'll be sitting next to people out there who have loans, who want to sell them and want to get cashed out and willing to sell at a really awesome discount.
Yeah, we can. Here's the cool thing. I had a conversation with the guy yesterday where he says, okay, so if I'm going to create a note, if I create it with these terms, then you would buy that. And I said, absolutely, all day long. Yes. And he's like, oh, wow. You know, stars in his eyes, dollar signs. Yes. We can do a ton of business together. And so we're here to help each other. I can't wait to meet a whole bunch of these seller finance people that are creating notes.
And for those who note buyers are saying, we had a couple reach out saying, Dave, your webinar this week is really not for us. Well, we're going to tell you it's totally is for you, right? If you are going to buy a seller finance note, it's not the traditional due diligence process, right? There's another step to it, because if you're buying paper that's not originated correctly, you're in deep water. Why is that? The borrower can sue you. We're going to go through the legal processes next webinar on the 26th with an attorney, right? But when you're creating that paper, if it's not originated correctly for owner finance property, you can get sued.
Mhm.
Sure, none of us want to get sued, right? And there's fines, there's levies, and all that stuff. We'll talk about legally next time. We're talking about what that process is to originate correctly. For note buyers, you got to make sure that collateral file has the RMLO logo and as well as the underwriting there to prove the fact that borrower has the ability to repay. And we're going to cover a lot of that today. But a DME is all going to be having that same conversation in person in Nashville.
Yeah. So get your tickets.
Hey.
It's last day. Go and get them. Diversifiedmortgageexpo.com.
Cool. So we're going
Price
to
goes
bring
up
in a
tomorrow.
special guest now. So we have a special guest that's going to be coming on today. Before we bring Sarah on, we understand the fact that RMLO is very confusing for both note buyers and originators. And a lot of people out there are originating and underwriting without both sides. They're doing what we call a checkbook underwriting, meaning you have a checkbook, you're underwritten, and you get the loan. That doesn't work, right? So when we work with people like this, we want to make sure that we help them. We're not experts, right? We're going to help you along that process so we can buy them. We have an alternative motive here, right? We want to cash you out, refi, and let you go buy more and originate more loans.
Yeah.
Right. So when we come to DME, be present, be ready. And if you haven't bought your tickets already, make sure check out the DME. If you need a link, whatever, put in the comments and whatnot. So we already got some comments coming in. So we're gonna bring on Sarah now. Let me flip the screen. Oh, awesome. So we have Sarah on today. She is an RMLO expert out of Texas. Sarah, could you explain first, how'd you get in this space? How'd you learn about all this stuff? And just the background of who you are.
Sure. Sarah Montez, Texas Pride Lending. So yes, I started with the gurus of owner finance. I started working with two gentlemen that have been doing it for like 20 years. And all I did was just sit there in their office and listen, and just soaked up, I just soaked all the information that I could. Especially when someone's been in the business for so long, you hear and you see, the historical side of owner finance. And whenever Dodd-Frank rules and regulations came about, everybody started freaking out. Oh my gosh, we can't do seller finance anymore.
Mhm.
And you learn that the history of all of real estate investing is that you always try to figure out how you're going to continue going. Abiding by the rules and regulations. All these new compliance laws come out all the time. It's just keeping up with them and making them a part of your business. So that's what we did. That's why they brought me in, because I was a licensed loan officer, and they said, hey, would you be interested in originating owner finance notes for us?
Mhm.
Because now we have to do it. Now it's required. So I came in, learned the business as far as the owner finance side. So we pretty much developed the RMLO, package, or the RMLO, what's gonna satisfy this new law.
Mhm.
So I don't know if anybody's familiar with Grant Camp. Long time ago, he was, just very active on social media, doing a lot of webinars, teaching people how to do this. Very young guy. He also was one of my mentors, but I mean, he had 60 homes within, 1 year. And it was all, sub twos and creative financing and wraps. And so it's not just owner finance, right? It's all the other stuff that makes it so interesting, is the creative financing behind it all.
Mhm.
So that intrigued me a lot. So that's why I was really focused and really determined to learn all of it, every bit and piece. So that's how Texas Pride got created, was solely for real estate investors that were creating owner finance notes. And
So
this
what-
was, a good 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
What year?
So
what year did you get started with that?
we started in 2013, because the law went into effect in 2010. But they created it in 2010, but it didn't go into effect in 2013. So that's when we started.
Yeah.
And I forgot to add in the housekeeping, yes, this is recorded. This will be on YouTube, our podcast, on our website. We can actually have it. So on JKP Holdings/webinars, you'll see a recording on there as well. All this will be recorded and available for the podcast or webinar. So yes. So Let's
It's
go
so
back.
interesting. Just one real quick.
Yeah.
So I had learned about Dodd-Frank. I was doing all these seller finance deals and putting, in Columbus, Ohio, was a bunch of land contracts. And I'd learned about this Dodd-Frank thing, and I'd heard about it, and I knew it was going to be implemented in 2013. So we started looking around, me and my old partner, we started looking around for an RMLO. We knew that's what we needed. We knew that was what was required. We could not find anybody, nobody. It was they just did not exist. Knowing that was the rule, and knowing that we couldn't find anybody, we had to shut it down. There was no way that we could continue doing it properly and legally. So we abandoned that model, which was really too bad. It was a great model, but we knew that we couldn't do it right. So I'm so glad. It took a couple of years for me to find people like you that knew how to underwrite and how to write them properly so that they're done legally.
So we have to understand that Dodd-Frank law came out of the debacle, right? It
Yeah.
literally came out of the problems that were happening back in 05, 06, 07, 08. And I understand the fact that borrowers were really getting in bad shape because of poor underwriting and whatnot. So new rules came out for that reason, to protect the borrowers. So this entire world is around protecting the borrowers and doing it legitimately. Now understand, if you are going to try bypassing this stuff and get away with it, we feel that they're going to actually make the rules even stricter if it continues to be violated, because they want to protect all the people, right? So those are listening on LinkedIn and Facebook, understand that, yes, could you get away with it? I'm sure you could. We're not looking to get away with anything. We want to be right to the borrowers, and we want to do good business, right? And if you're doing a lot of these notes and creating them, do it legitimately right.
Yeah.
Now, you may lose some borrowers because they don't qualify, but they shouldn't qualify then, right? We're not just screwing people over here. So we want to make sure we're clear that this law came out to protect borrowers, to do it right.
Absolutely.
Yep. And if you're going to act as a lender, then you have to follow all the laws that typical lenders do as well.
Yeah.
Granted, the underwriting guidelines are going to be way different, but you still have to follow the general rules and general laws.
Yeah. So when we talk about this stuff, there's a lot to do with this idea of RMLO and underwriting and whatnot. And then Sarah put a great PowerPoint together with us. Inside of our links, there's actually a link. If you want to get Sarah's information, click on the pinned post, and that will give you a webinar link. Just fill out the form and you'll get an automatic email with Sarah's information. So to get that, that'd be great. With that said, when we work on stuff like this, we hear a lot about this RMLO and its underwriting and loan originations and loan. These are really words that for note buyers, we never really dealt with or heard about. And for what we're finding out, me and Nathan, a lot of originators haven't heard about it either.